So let's get right to it. I see a lot of faces in the crowd. You can probably tell a lot of the same stories I can. But this one kind of correlates with Margot's story and Polly's story about the superintendent's zone. Can you hear me now? Is this one working? No, it working. So this story, like I was saying, correlates with Margot's story and Polly's story about the superintendent's home. I had my own encounter. So I have to go back to about 1998, 97, 99, somewhere in there. And the program I was working with, sometimes we got sent out with the maintenance guys because, you know, just wanted something to do sometimes. So we got called in to go with the maintenance guys to set up for a meeting with the Minerals Council. So they had this great big table in this little dining or dinner room, dining room or whatever. This table's just big enough where you have to kind of scoot in to get to your seat, because that's how big this table is. And the rest of the maintenance guys, they're you know, happy in the fact that somebody else is going to do the setup instead of them. So like, we're going to go out and take a smoke break. You know, that was common back then. And so me and a coworker of mine, his name was Roger. So we would tell him we'll set up the tables and stuff, or the chairs. So you guys go ahead. So they went outside on the front porch, and Roger kind of disappeared. And then I just got busy setting up the tables, or the chairs, and I said, Roger, come help me set up these chairs so we can all go out and have a cigarette. I smoked cigarettes back then too. And I heard a voice, you want to go to the restroom? Like, okay, I wasn't fully paying attention. You know, I could kind of see there's the doorway, entranceway. You can kind of see the staircase from the angle that I was moving the chairs around, and I just mostly heard it. You hear it go up the stairs, and there's a bathroom right at the top of the stairs on the left-hand side, and I could hear that door close. Okay, you know, I could hear the toilet flush, hear the door open. I could hear the sink running from him washing his hands. So I'm thinking nothing of it. It's like I hear him coming down the stairs. I'm like, Roger, come help me out. Do this other side. It's hard for me to get over there. And nothing. So I scoot around, do the other side, and then I go outside. And there's Roger on the front porch. I said, how come you didn't come in and help me finish the chairs? He goes, well, I came out here with the maintenance guys. I was like, no, you went to the bathroom. You told me you were going to the bathroom. I said, no, I didn't go to the bathroom. I came out here with them. So I was hearing somebody walk around up there, talking to him, and kind of answering me. And yeah, it was about 10 years before I went back to that building. And it's been at least 10 years since I've been in there since. So, with that story, I have another story about the superintendent's home. But this story isn't my story. This is a story of a friend of mine that told me his encounter, one of his encounters. He was on maintenance, but after my story, when I set up the table and stuff, this is probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years later, when I didn't want to go back in that house. So he's telling me about on maintenance, and they're up in the upstairs room in one of the back rooms. Now, after I figured out that I had an encounter after it happened, I didn't want to go back there and find out which room this was. So he was telling me that they were all up there painting these rooms. They had to be repainted. So They were putting coats and coats of paint on this one particular room, and something orange kept bleeding through on this one particular wall. And everybody was, I think it was lunchtime or whatever, so they all wanted to go to lunch, but this guy didn't. His name was Frank. And so he decided to stay and keep putting coats on. He's like, I want to see how many coats it's going to take before it covers up this orange that's bleeding through this wall. So he's putting it on. Everybody else leaves. And he said, there's a closet in this room. I think he said it had a sliding door, maybe French doors, I'm not sure. I think it was a sliding door. And he said he could see out of his peripheral vision, that door kept kind of open up just a little bit, about like that. And he'd be painting with the roller, and he'd go over there and close that door, you know. And he'd go back over and start doing his painting again. He did that 2 or 3 times. And Frank was very religious. He carried this little Bible in his pocket all the time. So he pulls this Bible out, and he faces towards these doors, these closet doors, and he starts just reading. He told me what scripture he was reading. I can't remember. And he said he is just concentrating and focusing on looking at his little book and reading from it. So he's reading this small Bible, and after a couple of minutes, he sees the doors start creeping open, and keeps coming open and keeps coming open. And then, not looking directly at it, just with his peripheral vision, he can see something come out of that door, out of that closet. And he's still reading, and this thing, he said, is kind of kneeled down looking at him. And it's growled, much like the growl that Mario was talking about, a deep growl. He said, but this thing was real close to him, like it was circling like some kind of animal. And he said the thing that he could hear, besides the growling, was it was grinding its teeth at him. And he said he never looked. He could just see like the shadow of this thing. And he said it got right by his ear and started grinding its teeth at him and growling and just making a fuss, trying to put fear into him. Because these kind of things, it said that they thrive on fear. So it went all the way around him, and he didn't do anything. He just kept reading from the Bible. And that thing just kind of backed back into the closet. And it said, slam that door as hard as it could. As soon as he did that, he said, he was out of there. And I would have been too. And this could be a good place to end the story, but the story doesn't end. So, a few days go by. Weekend comes, weekend goes. And so, he's back at work, and they're all there at each other, trying to tease him. You know, let's go back, we're going to send you up there to put another coat of paint in that wall. You know, I'm not going. And he said after about a week or so, he started getting phone calls from this superintendent's office. He said some of them were at midnight, and some of them were at 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, this is where the police department was and dispatch and stuff at the time. But only the strange thing is they closed at regular business hours, which was, or they closed at 5, I think. So at 5 o'clock, the dispatch left for the night. There's nobody in that building. It's locked up from 5 o'clock in the evening until 6:30 or 7 o'clock the next morning. So he kept getting these phone calls from this place. And had talked to the dispatch lady like she needed him to come up there right now at 3 a.m. And then another call. Well, you need to come up here right now. It's midnight. You know, there's trouble know, one of the officers or something. It's like, I'm maintenance. So, you know, this went on for 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. He stopped getting the calls from, at least I think he did. But, yeah, that was a great corn story. And, yeah, I don't want to go up there even more now. So, and that's my stories.
All right.